Hello everyone. How is everybody doing today? It has been a while. I apologize, I have not had a chance to go live this week. It's been a little bit nutty, but we're here today and I'm just getting everything pulled up on my end so that I can follow along in case there's anybody watching. If you are there, say hello and let me know where you are watching from. And it looks like this might be good. I'm going to just straighten this a little bit, which means I'm going to have to straighten that a little bit. There we go. Almost there. Okay. All right. I feel like it's, hey, Linda, how are you? Are you still around? I'm glad that you were able to tune in today. And hi, Christine, from the mountains of Northern California. Oh, cool. I would love to get there someday. All right, so this week we are going to be doing the Friends for Life suite. So this one has the Friends for Life stamp set, the Friends for Life dies. I love this bundle. It was, I was contemplating doing the Thoughtful Journey suite, but we can't get the bundle right now. So I checked, and last night this bundle was still available as a bundle with the extra discounted price. So hopefully this is still available. But anyhow, I am Alana Worf, Sleepless Stamper. I'm in Winnipeg, Manitoba in Canada, and I am here to create a bit late, but we're still going to do 5 projects between now and Sunday. So today was for 2:30, tomorrow is for 11 a.m. We have a wedding to go to in the afternoon. So I will go live tomorrow morning, our time. So I know some places around the world that you guys watch from, you might actually be able to catch me, and hopefully it's not too early for everyone around here. So I'm going to create this card for you guys today. This one features the DSP and die cuts and very little stamping. So if you have this bundle already, hopefully this inspires you. If you do not yet have this bundle, or even if you have it and you want to place another order to qualify for the cards, how this works is, if you're welcome to watch whether you purchase or not, you're welcome to follow the measurements and recreate whether you purchase or not. But if you'd like to earn the card kits for this week's cards, you can place a $65 order using this host code here, or you can contact me if you're local and you want it to go in with an order of mine. And with a $65 purchase, I will send you the kits for the cards that I'm making this week. So this is card number 1, and we will catch up to card number 5. All right, so you get all these really fabulous dies. There's a friend, a nice thin word, and then a matting layer. We also have the outline layer of heart, and then there's the detailed layer, so you can see some neat things. Sue Moore, I think she did a tip and technique from the Artisan Design team with this one here for sure. I can't remember what else she had in her samples, but if you look on the Stampin' Up! Page, they shared it, I think it was last week or the week before. And Verena Shapiro, also on the Artisan Design team, she has made some really pretty samples with this one as well. So hopefully I'll have some things to inspire you guys this week. And then we have some leaf details, some hearts, and then this really neat swoosh die as well. Then we have some similar images in the stamp set. So we have the little leaf and the hearts that coordinate with the dies. And then this swoosh is a little different than this one, but you can combine them. And then a lot of really nice greetings. So it's a really good greeting stamp set. And I combined, as they intend, one of the words with the friend die cut. And then I pulled in this little die cut from Happy Little Things. It is a little set of 2 banners. One second, I'll grab the other one. If you don't have this in your collection, this is a really good one that I recommend. It comes with these 2 little greeting dies, or label dies, sorry. And you can use these with so many different sets. They work perfectly with many of these. And this one, I'm going to just quickly check. I believe this one is true to size. Oh, wait a second. It is not. The images on the case are actually slightly smaller than real life. So you can somewhat gauge whether they're going to fit, but it will be slightly bigger. Like this one here, you can see there, it fits better within there than it does on here. It still fits perfectly on here, but you see more of it here. So it will be slightly bigger. Okay, so we're just gonna move those aside. I usually test that out first before I stamp, and I did not this time. So Sorry, I wasn't prepared with that. But now you know, the images are slightly bigger than what you see on the case. And then I die cut some of those hearts. So you have these ones here and these ones here. You can stamp with these ones, and then these are extra accents. But I used them all as die cuts and didn't do any heart stamping for this one. All right, and then I used a little bit of this fabulous vellum. If you guys have been watching me at all or watching my projects, you know that I love vellum, and I was quite sad to see it go. So I'm thrilled that we have a little bit that came out with the, oh, I think it's going to be in the holiday catalog, either that or it's the online exclusives. I can't remember which offering it's from, but it's from the Golden Greenery suite. So I'm actually going to cut a little piece of this vellum, and then I will reveal all of the products that we're using for you guys. I have everything else prepped, but this one, I have been savoring every little piece of this piece of vellum. So I just cut into it when I need a piece instead of cutting too much off. So this won't fit here, and I had this piece was like this before, so I just cut into there to get this piece out. So I think I will cut from this top corner. It's not gonna fit down here. Well, you know what? Let's see. It will fit right here. So I'm actually gonna cut that here, and then I can still conserve as much as possible. And how I did this, usually I would measure, but I'm actually gonna show you guys how I cut. This is partly why I saved this. I wanna show you what I did to cut only as much as I needed. I'm gonna snug this right in there. There is a little split in my paper there, so I'm just being careful to not get that. And then I actually just place this with the die just inside the blade marker. I don't want to cut it right along the line. That's a little too close. So I'm going to do this, and then I just put my arm down on that. I should have moved my blade up 1 second. I've got to slide those up to the right end, otherwise I'm going to slice the whole piece of paper off, and we don't want that. I'm trying to conserve paper, not waste. And there we go. Now I'm going to slice that so that I can see where my blade is just past the heart. Then I can move this, and now I can put where I slice to on my, along the track. I hope that makes sense. It's hard to see when it's vellum and the cutter is so far away. There we are. Now, gotta go just a tad further. Oh, I cut from the wrong place, you guys. I was supposed to cut from the over here up to the line. Well, now I did go cut too much. But in theory, if I had just sliced from here to there, this is the piece that would have come out, and I could have cut my heart. But now I have an extra piece, and I can cut another heart from that later. But anyhow, now I'm still left with this. That was kind of silly. Try to show you a little trick, and then I go against what I'm doing. All right, so we have this piece that we're gonna do the heart with, and then I have one more to show you guys. And we're going to just quickly review the paper so that you guys can see how pretty this paper is. I'm going to put this aside and grab one more of the sheet that I cut. Okay, so this paper is 6 by 6. You get 48 sheets. It is the Full of Life DSP, and there are 12 different sheets in here. You can't hear me, Lena? Can anyone hear me? Let me know. Well, you must be, because Christine told me where you're from. Or did you just happen to say that, not knowing I asked? 1 second. I'm going to get my husband to, you can hear me. Okay, Lena, maybe turn the volume up. Well, you can't hear me. If somebody doesn't mind commenting to Lena to let her know to try turning up the volume on her phone. That might be the trick. If somebody doesn't mind helping out with that. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to review the paper in the Full of Life DSP pack. And I'll just watch the comments just in case we can help Lena troubleshoot there. All right, so we have this one here. This is the one I'm going to use. And rather than use the, thank you so much, Christine, rather than use the other half, I'm actually going to cut this one so I can show you guys how I cut this down, and then maybe later I will use the other half and make another one with that so we can see how the other half worked out. But this is, I want you guys to be able to see how this goes. This is the other half. So we have this sheet, We have this beautiful pattern on the back. This is one, I actually, when I was designing, what I did was I laid out all the papers and I put the ones aside that I liked both sides of, or that I was going to consider both sides for this layout. And then I put the other ones that I knew I only wanted to look at one side and put them in a different pile. So these ones here are from my I loved both sides. Same as this one here. I love this one. That's probably my favorite piece in the pack. I actually created a, oh shoot. I actually created a card with this one and the, oh, I think it's called Bright Skies. So we'll have, if you guys want to see it, you can scroll back on my page and see that. Then this one here, I also love both sides of that one. This was, I don't mind the other sides, but these are the ones now we're getting into where I love the single sides. So we have this and this. I think this would be a really neat one. Do you guys remember the alligator we had a couple years ago? I think that would be really cool with that. This one here, we've got this. I love these blended ones. I saw a card where somebody made a Tetris card out of these patterns. I thought that was super smart. Then we have these nice brightly colored ones. I love this one too. It was one of these they did a Tetris card with, one of those smaller ones. You can read with closed caption. You can't hear me at all. All right. So that is the DSP. And I'm going to use this sheet here. So I will show you guys how I cut this one down. I am going to begin by making sure that I have the proper size. So this is what I was left with. I tried to go down the middle here so that I would get some of the blue all the way to purple. Of course, you could always rotate it this way if you wanted to do one that's mostly blue and one that's mostly purple. But I wanted to try to get some of both. So I am going to cut this down the middle at 3 inches. Sorry, I just smacked the computer stand or the phone stand there. So we're going to put this to 3 inches and we're going to cut there. Now we have 2 sides that we can do something else with later, but you can see here there's a little bit of a white line still, and I'm going to mat this, sorry I left the card out of view, on a black layer. So I don't want that white line there. So I'm actually going to just trim that off a little bit more. So I'm going to bring this back to about 2 7/8, maybe a little bit more than 2 7/8, just enough to take that line off. So we'll see here, and you can save that if you want to use this as a little strip or something like that. Now I need a larger cutter. This one is a little bit too small. It's not long enough to do the 5 1/4. So now what I'm going to do is I wanted to keep this centered. If I wanted to offset this towards the bottom, then I would take the full 1/2 inch off the bottom, but I wanted to keep it roughly here. I'm tempted to switch it and put it offset to the bottom, but I'll stick with it just as it is for you guys. But if you want to keep it more centered, you want to take an equal amount off of each side. If you want it to be offset to the bottom, then you would take the 1/2 inch off the bottom. So in order to keep it the same, I'm going to take a 1/4 inch off one side, rotate it, and then take another 1/4 inch off the other side. So now we have these ones. I think when I do this one, I will maybe take a 1/2 inch off the bottom, and then we'll see how it looks with it being a little offset. So that's how you get your piece of DSP the same as this one here. Now, I tuck this away. I feel like our project's going to be very quick today. I also pre-embossed a strip of white that is 5 1/2. I wanted to fill a little bit of this space. Initially I had this in the middle and I wasn't loving it. And it didn't allow me as much room to put the heart and then the friend overlapping, but it was a little bit too much white space here. So I added some texture. I cut myself a strip of white and added texture to it. And then I also cut a layer to anchor all of these things together. I will trim this one down a little bit. I went a little bit wide just to give me some wiggle room, but I am going to layer all of these elements onto it. That will make it a little bit easier in case anything is off by a little bit when we put the layers together. Plus, I wrapped some twine around here. So if I was just anchoring these elements straight to my card base, I wouldn't be able to wrap that around. So that was my reasoning for that. Okay, so we have a 4 1/4 by 11 thick white card base, scored at 5 1/2. This is actually 4 by 5.5. It's just a basic white layer. This one is thick white. This is basic white. And I will trim this down a little bit. This one here is basic black. It is 3 by 5.5. And I only cut that at 3 because even though I cut this to 3, I knew I was going to trim a little bit off to get rid of that white line. And this leaves just a very thin reveal. And that is all I wanted. So 3 by 5.5 on the black. And then this one is 7/8 by 5.5. And then I textured it with the Dashing Designs embossing folder. I love this one. This is going to be my new go-to, and I just want a little bit of texture. I usually have at least one, so it was Subtle for a long time when we had that one. And then it was, oh gosh, I can't remember after that. And then I loved the crosshatch one from the Basics 3D folders. If you guys remember that one. It's sad that that one has retired. All right, so now I am going to pre-die cut this, and there's a little trick to that as well. I'm going to see if it will fit through the mini machine. I did this on the large one, so we're just going to move these aside for a minute. And we are going to place this. Just get those little elements. Those are still on there from last week. Okay. I love this one too, Linda. It's really nice. Alrighty, so we are going to tuck this just a bit on an angle like that. And then I'll still have enough left there that I can do other things with. So we're going to just place the next cutting pad on there. And I'm just watching that to make sure that it doesn't slip. But it's all good. There we go. Now, here's where the little trick is. This actually doesn't fully die cut that heart out. It leaves you with this little outline. So, you can use the outline, which is cute. You can use that separately, or you can layer them together. I'm not going to use the outline today, but because this is still attached, you just need to snip this off. So I just come from this side, follow along that line, and there we are. Now you could also possibly use the frame, but that is our little, whoopsie, vellum heart from the, let me see what the vellum is actually called. Now, you can't order that vellum just yet if you aren't a demo, but it will be included in your kit if you earn the kits. So it is the Season, is it the Season of Green and Gold specialty? Nope, it is the Graceful Greenery Vellum. It is so pretty. Here, I may as well show you guys the other patterns while we're here. I have submitted an artisan assignment with these, so you will get to see more of this very soon. So it has this beautiful vellum and this beautiful vellum. If you don't have this and you're a demo, I guarantee you, you will want it when you start seeing more and more projects done with it. It's so pretty. Okay, so now we have the heart die cut as well. I have pre-die cut the little friend. I have the little dot for the eye off to the side. I just don't want to lose that. I have a couple of the greeting labels in case I mess up. And then I have the set of die cuts right here. So when you cut these, you get 2 small and then a large and a medium. So I just ran both of those through so that I could get a variety of the sizes here. And then I have my twine, and I have also used the iridescent faceted gems, and that's it. So now I just need to stamp, and then we can actually work on assembly. There's not a lot of technique to this card. Last week was very technique heavy. I still plan to make some reels for you guys on the ink techniques that I did last week. If you missed them, they are still available here on Facebook, the replay, and also on YouTube. So if you want to see any of those cards that we did with the fun techniques, they are still there. And I'm excited to figure out what I'm going to make with this one this week. I'll have to do some techniques for you guys. Can't just do stamping and die cutting, but it is nice to have some that are nice and simple. Oh, look, I just made a black blob. Didn't I say I better have 2 in case I mess up? Now let's hope I don't mess up the stamping because I've already used up my spare. It's not much to die cut a new one though, so if needed, I will do that. All right, so that is just lined up there. Now trying to do this without sticking my head in your guys' way. I feel like I messed that one up. There we go. All right, now we can close this up. And you could also stamp, if you have these dies, you could stamp first, die cut second, and that works as well. I'm gonna just set that aside and we'll work on this while I let that just set a little bit. I am going to use my Tombow. If you are a demo, did you guys do the Creativity Now event on the weekend? I love that bundle. The DSP is so pretty. It's going to be, I believe, coming out in the holiday catalog. I posted a card that I made with it. I don't think I have it handy. So I am going to, I should have used Tombow because I like having a little bit of wiggle room when I am laying DSP down to cardstock with such a thin reveal. I'm gonna have to trim a little bit off. Well, I think I'll just leave it. Okay, so I do need to trim the bottom just a little bit. The DSP is slightly longer than my black cardstock, and it is always easier to trim layers down as you go to clean them up than it is to try to do that once you've got all your layers put together. All right, so now we have Dashing Designs, this little piece of white. I am going to glue this one down to the left side of my strip of basic white, or my layer of basic white. Again, this white layer you're not going to see in the end. It is just to anchor all of these pieces to, so that we have an easier time putting them all down onto the card lined up. Because here you can see I can line this up to these edges, make sure it's all square. Like here, that's a little bit longer. It would be hard to clean that up once it's all on there, and we couldn't wrap our twine around otherwise. Hey Ramona, how are you? All right, so I'm just trimming that little discrepancy off of the textured layer. Now I am going to layer this on here, and then you can see this is a little bit too wide, so I'm going to trim that off afterwards. So we can just Tombow this guy. I love this Full of Life paper. At first I wasn't so sure about it, and then it was my prize patrol for on stage. And once I got it here and opened it up, I loved it. It was probably one of the first things I created with, actually. There we go. And here you can see that's a little bit too long, so I need to trim that off again. So this is why I'm going to just bring in my larger cutter though. It's a little bit stronger than that one for doing double layer, and make sure that I get this cut cleanly. Depending where you are in the world, it is graduation season. Some, like I think in the US, you guys have had yours already. This week there's graduations happening all over. So our younger son gets to go. He graduates next year. After next year, I will have no school-age children anymore. But our son is on the grad committee, so he gets to go and observe the graduation dinner and safe grad tonight. So, and I just need to trim that piece off. I'm just checking the bottom to make sure that it is even with my card, which it is, so we're good. So anyhow, he is very excited. He bought a suit. Well, he got a suit. And it looks really good. I'll have to, if he's all right with it, get his picture and maybe share it. We'll see. There we go. So now I've just trimmed off that little white edge. Graduation next year baffles me. Now, before I attach this to my card base, I'll just bring this closer so you guys can see. Now there's going to be a little white reveal. If you're not comfortable trimming that off, you could also have just glued it aligned to the right side. That would have worked as well. So before I glue this down, this is now my anchor that I can wrap this twine around. Without gluing these all to this white piece, I wouldn't have been able to do that unless you made this piece fully textured and glued this down to the textured side. When I have a layer like this, I like gluing it down to a smooth layer, so that's my reasoning for that, but you can always adapt that if you are following along and making this from home. Okay, now with my twine, there's two ways to do this. You could either cut two pieces and just tape them. So I could cut two lengths and just tape them behind here, or one if you prefer one. And then you would just snip them and tape them behind the top and bottom. Or you can do like I'm going to do, and I'm actually going to wrap this around. The first way I told you saves on twine. This way is a bit wasteful, but this is what I'm going to do. So I have left enough of a tail here to tie my bow roughly around where I want to tie it. I'll backtrack. Then I go around the top and around again. And then I bring this back up to where I want to tie my bow. And then I can snip that off. There we go. Now I will have enough left there to tie a bow with. All right, so let's just cinch it back, make sure that it's taut. We don't want it loose. All right, so now I have one string coming from the right side and one string coming from the left. It doesn't really matter too much which one is which, but that's how I like to tie them. Now I've made one single knot and I want to tie this. Here, I'm just going to move these so you guys can see my gauge here. So I am going to go roughly about the same height here. And I've got some little itty bitty glue dots. I like to put one of these, if these are actually a bit smaller than the Stampin' Up! Ones, but if you only have the Stampin' Up! Ones, you can actually fold them in half. So I have these little itty bitty ones, and I am going to just move my knot aside, and I am going to stick this little glue dot on top of the first, oh, it stuck to my finger. Sorry about that. I am going to stick this, just line this up here, on top of this first layer of twine. There we go. Now I can take my knot that I have here, hold it above that glue dot and stick it down. Now I have nice leverage to tie my bow. So I make a loop with one, come around the other. I cannot do the bunny ears bows. How about you guys? I'm just challenged with those. So I just made a loop around, come back through, and then sometimes I need to just wiggle this back. Now to cinch back the loops, my trick for you is I've shown you when you're tying it in your hands to hold the knot and the loops flat between your fingers. The same goes here. So I'm going to just put my finger down on there. I'm holding the knot in place, and I'm also holding the loops as straight as I can so that I can just cinch this back without that twisting all over the place on me. And then that way you get a bow that is a little more orderly and not so unruly. Okay, so there we go. We've got our bow. Now I can take this, and I'm going to use tear and tape. When I've got twine or ribbon or something like that on the back, I like to use tear and tape to tape it down and keep everything flat. So I'm going to just tape that over there. There we go. If you have this bundle, let me know. I think it's so cute. I love when we have dies that have a thin word die cut, and also when it's got a layer, especially now that we have vellum. So I think this one would be really nice if you die cut the friend with the adhesive paper, the fine one, and then layered it on vellum. All right, just getting all these backings off. And you know what? I'm actually going to put a couple back on, and I'll show you why. Okay, so I'm taking the top ones off and I've replaced the bottom ones. Now that's going to allow me to line up the top without the sides grabbing down before I'm ready for them to. So I can center the top, line it up to the fold, get my finger out of the way. There we go. So now the top is there and the bottom didn't grab because I still had these backings here, or on there. There we go. So now we're all lined up. And now I can add my elements here. So I'm going to tuck that in there for now. And my bottom is a little bit longer, but there's nothing I can do about that now because I have twine there. So it's going to have to do. That's all right. Sometimes that happens. Okay, so now we need the little friend. And what I did with friend is I put one of those little glue dots behind all of the places where it can be the most easily hidden. So I put one behind here, behind the N, and behind the D. So I'm going to just grab those. I didn't put very many. It doesn't need a lot. Now, again, if you only have the Stampin' Up! Glue dots, fold them in half, or you can place it down onto the places where you want them to go, and any parts where it sticks over, just fold it back on. Like take your piercer and pull it back onto the cardstock, or fold it back onto the cardstock. And then that way it won't stick out where you don't want to see it. Like on this E, I'm gonna have to do that. And I will show you, even with these little itty bitty ones. Alrighty, so you can see here, there's a little bit of glue dot showing, so I'm just folding that behind. Same thing here, fold that behind. And the same thing here. I wanna just fold that, and there's a little bit in the little loop of the E. Otherwise, if you live with a black-haired cat like I do, you will get that all over your project. Okay, so I have not attached the heart, so just reminding you that's not attached. Now I can take my friend and tuck that loop of the F around the bow, and I can place the rest of this down. I'm gonna just angle that a little bit. There we go. Okay, so that's attached. The friend is attached to the heart now. Now I want to take this and flip it over, and I can put another glue dot behind each of those places where I put them behind the friend. And that way you won't see these ones either. And that gives us about 4 places to put them on the back of the heart so that it will hold that down nicely. It will end up with a little bit more once we get on to the rest. So you'll see that, and I'm going to place another one just at this little intersection here where the heart hits the F, and that will hold both of them down right there. So now I can tuck that back around here again, just back around my bow, because I have the bow kind of nestled right in the friend there. There we go. Now that is glued down. Now I have my thank you. I love that little thank you. And we're going to dimensional that one. So I have white mini, and I also have some black mini dimensionals that we're going to use. If you have this paper, what's your guys' favorite pattern? I love these starburst ones. I just think they're so fun. All right. Now, speaking of friend, if you guys have followed me at all, you've probably heard about our friend Susie. And today would have been her birthday. So I feel like this is a fitting card to think about her today and thank her for her friendship. We're going to go to the cemetery later and out for dinner with her husband and some friends who are also good friends with her. So it is a good day to remember her. All right, so I have this now dimensional. Now we got to get these guys ready. Okay, so for these, I just put a half dimensional behind the little ones. So get those ready. It's actually been a bit of a crazy week. The 21st was the anniversary. Oh, thank you, Denise. Our last birthday celebration with her was at a little restaurant. I shouldn't say little. I know where it is. I don't remember the name of it. I do know where we're going, but it was her last birthday. It was the first birthday we could get together again after or during COVID. It was our first time going anywhere to eat in the middle of COVID. So that was on her birthday in 2021. And so we are returning there for dinner with her husband and our friends. So it will be nice to remember her. Well, we always remember her. Okay, so this one I put 1.5. And I'm gonna just put that one upside down because I accidentally peeled one off. Now, this one actually I'll put down first because I went closer. I originally had these staggering, they were descending in size from here up, but I actually switched it up and prefer that. But you could always switch this up and put them wherever you want. So this one I have overlapping the heart a little bit, the large vellum heart. And then this one is offset a little bit to the right. Now this little one we have 2 of. So we are gonna stagger this one. I was saying it's a bit of a crazy week. The 21st was the anniversary of Ryan's dad passing. The 23rd was the 15th anniversary of my dad passing. And then we have Susie's birthday. It was actually, today would have been the day we had my dad's funeral. And I said when Susie passed away, well, just even before that, like there's just so many common dates that our friendships were definitely meant to be. All right, so now I have the iridescent faceted gems. And I showed you guys a trick the other day. And just in case you weren't here the other day, I'm gonna show you this again. So when I was designing this card, I really wasn't sure where I wanted to put the gems. I tell you guys this often, putting the gems or deciding where they're gonna go is often the thing that takes me the longest to do on a card. So I have snipped this off with the backing intact. So then I just played around with these and you can see here, it's on the backing. So I can just slide this around to where I think I might want to place it. So without risking that it's going to stick to my paper and rip it, especially when you have such a specific pattern of DSP that's not that easy to replace, then you can just slide it around and decide, oh, do I want it here? Do I want it here? Maybe I want to slide it over here and put it up there. So that way you have a little bit more flexibility in choosing where you're going to place your gems. So hopefully that will help some of you guys. It definitely does help me when I can't decide. Now I accidentally put the friend a little bit too far over, so I just have to adjust on this one, but I'll still put them in roughly the same placement. So I did a large and a small up in this corner of the heart. Now on this one, there's actually something white on there and I was trying to cover that, but that's okay. We'll leave that. All right. So that is my card for today. I will have to bring you some double project days because I still owe you guys 4 more. I don't owe you, but you know, especially, oh, I missed the dot on the I. If you are earning these card kits, then I do owe you 4 more projects. So we're gonna do some catch up and we'll have some either double. I don't think I'll come live Saturday. It's actually our anniversary Saturday. And so thank you, Christine. So I probably will do two more double days. So we'll see. But tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Daylight is when I will go live. I'm just putting a tiny little dot of Tombow here. And you just need the slightest amount of that. And then I'm going to pick up the little dot to the eye. I picked it up upside down, so I just rotated my, there we go. There, just about missed the dot on the eye. All right, so yeah, Saturday is our anniversary, so I probably won't go live Saturday, and I will probably do a double project tomorrow, or double projects, and also on Sunday. So, because tomorrow evening we have the wedding, so I can't go live tomorrow evening, and then Ryan's mom, it's Ryan's cousin that's getting married, actually has to head right back home on Saturday, so we'll probably do something for our anniversary. We'll see. I think both boys work. And I have now almost finished my planting. I think I was telling you guys last week that one of my favorite planters, we had a set of 2 by our gazebo that matched, so 1 on either side. I'm just going to trim the ends here while you guys are here. And we were chatting last week on live about gluing it back together. So he put it in our garage. I really need to fix my scissors. And to let it dry out so he could get the soil out to glue it together. And then he went in there to get something else and knocked it over and it smashed into a bunch of pieces. So we are on the hunt for 2 matching planters. And if you are friends with me on Facebook, you probably saw the picture of the planters I found on Wayfair. If you're in Canada, you'll know what these prices mean, but one of them was $1,800. I won't be buying an $1,800 planter, that's for sure. That's like a vacation. So we are on the hunt for one that's nowhere near that price, but if you happen to see one that's similar, let me know. Anyhow, that's the card for today. I will get these posted. We will put the replay up on YouTube. It will also be here on Facebook, and I will come live to you guys tomorrow. Hopefully you can tune in with me earlier in the day. And again, if you would like to earn the card kits, you are welcome to place an order with this host code online. A $65 purchase will earn you all of the cards for this week. And if you want to just watch the replay and be able to make the cards, I've given you the measurements. I am honored if you case that way as well. So I'll see you guys again tomorrow, and thank you so much for watching. Bye, everyone.